Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 676. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Matt Soellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week, we're checking out Tekken's Nina Williams in Death by Degrees.
I was hoping you would get the proper title.
Yes. Not a fool. We're going to dive into the game, talk about our experience playing it, and then we will rank it on the list. Matt, what is the list?
Okay. Usually you do this.
I know. I'm making it cooperative here.
Freecheese.com/the list is the list of all of our video games that we have ranked since the beginning of season 10 of the podcast. And we have, I'm not looking at it. It's like 195 video games. This would be what? 196, right?
This is 196.
Yeah. On that website, you can see the original episodes, listen to them, and see where we ranked them and thought of it at the time during our discussion. And you can do that all the way up until now. When you listen to us talk about Nina Williams in
By Degrees. But before that, I want to dive in. I have an opening question for you. We might have done this question before. Which developer, known for one type of video game, would you like to see develop a different genre? No, we did that question last week. I want to know this week, Matt, what is your favorite spin-off video game?
Spin-off. There's a plethora of Mario titles out there that one can choose from. I have grown fond. I mean, obviously Mario. I think Mario Kart is an obvious answer here. I've grown fond of the Strikers series, though. I like Strikers a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the Mario Golf titles.
Sports. Yeah, I do like Mario Golf. I forgot about Mario Kart when I wrote this question down, which is insane. It's obviously it's massive, but yeah, I didn't think about that at all.
I mean, we see some other stuff. I mean, some of the
Mario
stuff
Party. Is that what you were gonna say?
No, I was done with talking about Mario. I mean, there's some of that stuff on the list if you're still kind of thinking.
I've got a couple. I've got Theater Rhythm.
That's a good one.
Spin-off from Final Fantasy. I think that's a really good spin-off game. Also, this is kind of cheating, but kind of not. Persona is a spin-off.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think that's an interesting case where like a spin-off happened and then became in some ways bigger than the original. I don't know if the same could be said for Death by Degrees, but I suppose we'll dig into it. What else do we have on the list that was a spin-off?
Mach and X.
Mach and X is another, yes.
I was gonna go like side story more so, but like Gaiden and the Metal Gear Solid Game Boy games, and we have one here. I want to say there's at least one more, but maybe not.
Speaking of Persona, we did Demi Kids a couple years ago.
Yes, right. That's probably the other one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a few. Been a few for sure. Well, this week we're going to dive into Tekken's Nina Williams in Death by Degrees. Developed by Namco, published in North America by Namco Home Tech. For the PlayStation 2, first released in North America February 8th, 2005. The back of the box reads, as a covert operative of the CIA, Nina Williams enters an underground fighting tournament to track Cometa, a shadowy underground organization. Functioning as the sweeper of her cell, Nina finds herself tracking a stolen high-tech weapon through a variety of locales to reveal a conspiracy on a global scale. Nina must now face a multitude of deadly enemies, as well as her own past, in order to save the world. Control Nina with an intuitive 360-degree combat system. Wield a variety of weapons, including handguns, sniper rifles, swords, and tonfas. Bust organs and shatter bones with Nina's critical strike. Deliver Nina's signature moves outside of the fighting ring. It also says here, be the first to play the Tekken 5 demo included in Death by Degrees. There you go. A lot of games with 360-degree combat these past few weeks. Yeah, the combat continues. Where did this come from?
YouTube. Just like there's a dude that makes some I think makes some good quality like with an angle and a character to it all, but like I think some good quality side content and or like that's like good quality like game documentary review, go with deep dive, the history of it, all that kind of stuff. I was going through his page as I was starting to discover him probably early last year, and I came across one that was 2 hours long called Death by Degrees. And usually his longer ones are games I heard of. You may know them too, like Deus Ex, or some other games along that little known games along that line. So when I see 2 hour long game I have never heard of until now, or until seeing that title, I click go, on the link, and about 5 minutes into the video, I do the classic. I'm gonna pause this and put on the list, and
I've seen enough.
yeah, I got away with not knowing a lot of that game either, but I knew it was an action adventure game with Nina from Tekken, and just so happened it was kind of fitting my theme I was working towards for this season of the female betrayal in video games. And yeah, I mean, from what I knew, it looked different already. I did not know about the right stick. I just I thought it was more like a brawler type thing. But yeah, I was like, all right, Tekken, sure. I know Tekken. I know Nina from Tekken. But let's see what's up.
Did you play as Nina in Tekken? Who's your go-to in Tekken?
So I want to be a King main real bad, but I'm bad with King, so that's never happened. In Tekken 3, which is the one I grew up playing, probably Tai Law is the one I played the most. I'd be remiss to say Eddie isn't everyone's main at some point, where you just mash the buttons to see what he can do. I've definitely played that game before. But no, I don't remember like her moveset per se, but I know I played with everyone at some point in that game because I cleared arcade mode with everyone to try to get all the unlockables and stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I've played Tekken, but I never I never spent like a significant amount of time with it. Not until
Did you play 6 a lot? That story mode in 6? Or was that 7?
I think 7. Let me see. I gotta look at 6's cover. No, I didn't play 6 at all. So yeah, it must have been 7, and then I played some 8. I've since gone back to some of the older ones, but yeah. No, now I would that's not true. I've played a lot of Tekken 7. I was gonna say with Death by Degrees I might have tipped the scales on like Tekken, but no, I've definitely played more Tekken 7 than Death by Degrees. But Death by Degrees is not a short video. I mean, it's short enough, but takes some time. for some reason or another. We'll jump into. I want to jump right to the analog stick. You mentioned that in your opening bit there, but that was one of the first things you kind of feel as you get started with the game. This is a brawler, but you're not like mashing face buttons to do heavy, medium, light punches. You are using the analog sticks. Um, you're moving with your left stick as you do in a third person character action game, but then you're attacking whichever direction you push the right stick is the direction Nina will attack. Later on, when you get guns, that's the direction in which she will shoot. And same with melee weapons. That's she'll still strike in that direction with the melee weapon. But the thing for me, like the movement also feels a little different than you expect out of a like character action game too. Like she feels pretty light. And
Mm-hmm.
especially in combat, you're flicking that left stick to have her like dodge roll out of the way. And a lot of that stuff, a lot of that that interactivity is very light is the thing I keep coming back to. You just feel kind of weightless in this game in a good way. I don't mean that in a bad way. I feel like it's very fluid throughout.
Yeah, and to what I recall of her as a character, she feels like that in Tekken. She's not like one of the heavier
Hmm.
fighters or anything like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Does the story make any sense to you coming into it from the Tekken side?
No.
Okay, so this is all brand new. This is a spin-off.
Well, Tekken's so weird because how many times can was it Jin and Hihachi throw
Right,
each other
right.
off a cliff? Right,
Yeah.
like, um, so that's what I know of the Tekken stuff. I know each like arcade mode has like different endings if you win the Iron Fist tournament with the said character. I forget which ones are canon or not canon. I know Nina. I don't know if this is past this game, but I know Nina has had some like mind control type things go on
Okay.
with her and her character in the Tekken universe at some point. But I want to say that's more like 4 or 5 where you start to see that stuff. Um, and
Which
then
kind of this fits timeline wise
yeah,
between 4 and 5.
um, and then Anna, the sister. I know
Yeah,
they are rivals in various sibling ways. And of course, she makes an appearance in this game as well.
she sure does. Beyond the basic analog stick movement combat system, you get you actually get quite a variety of gameplay styles in here. One of the first you're introduced to is sort of a sniper mini game where you take over a sniper perch and the gun itself, and then you're kind of picking off bad guys before they can attack. Is that first one with Lucas?
No, it's what the operative that you're working with. I forget his
Oh,
name.
right. I forget his name. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's like pinned down the corner of the ship, and you go up to the bridge.
Um, I guess we'll kind of explore some of the other gameplay styles as we go through, but uh, I think that's the basic setup. Like that's what stood out to me was the actual input methods and what you're doing overall in terms of the the game itself. It's kind of like you start off on a boat and you're meant to explore the boat, finding early on you find a fingerprint scanner that you use to pick up fingerprints from around the ship, which is really cool. Some of them are required for like specific fingerprints
Yeah,
required for you to get through certain doors. Others you just kind of find and collect. They might unlock something somewhere else. A lot of them go back to there's like a what do you call it? Like
a
a
locker.
it it is a locker, but like what would you call it? Like an employee, like a break room kind of thing, right? Like you're
Yeah, like yeah. So when you pick up the print, sometimes you'll get like, oh, this is a partial print, or this is the print needed for key A1 or something like that. Um, but at the very end of it, it's like you'll get a person identification number out of it, and
yeah.
depending on what section of the game you're in, you usually get one that's like 20 through 30. And then yeah, as you're playing, you'll go into various areas where like usually like a break room type thing, where there's a series of lockers that have this like familiar looking like key card scanner thing, and you match the numbers you've collected to the locker. And you get a special item out of it if you have that locker.
Yeah. Um, I thought that was a fun
Yeah,
little. There's a lot of little things like that in this game. There's just all these little systems they built, all these little pieces, these vignettes. I think there's a lot stacked in here altogether. Um, should we set up the plot at all? I kind of breezed past the plot.
I, I mean, it exists, and there's definitely a scene or two where you get the info dump of all this stuff. Like 2/3 into the game. Sure, like you, you say what you know. I'll try to fill in the gaps from what I know.
I mean, I don't know anything. I'm gonna read off of a thing on the screen here
You
to
can
kind
do
of set
that
it
as
up.
well.
Um, I do like so the one thing I remember like standing out to me and writing down is like we don't get enough Bermuda Triangle stuff. I think there's a lot
No, we
of
don't.
potential global for as the human race. There's a lot of potential for the Bermuda Triangle to be explored that we don't explore in media. Um, maybe we did at one point, but I feel like it could be we could go deeper. I think we should go deeper. Um, literally, in fact, send people out. Let's find out what's going on.
Well, I think
But
we know.
you,
This game solved the mystery.
based on this game,
Yeah,
yeah.
we know.
Um, so it starts off with Nina. She joins a fighting tournament. I swear, I just watched a movie like this too, where like someone joined a fighting tournament to get into. I don't remember what it was. Um, but it's owned and operated by Komeda. Um, they are a criminal organization. So she joins this fighting tournament so that while she's there, the people who kind of went there with her could uh, also board the ship and try to infiltrate, get secrets, figure out, what exactly is happening. Um, but yeah, they're basically Komeda's trying to use what satellites and gas up from the ocean floor to destroy not only like enemy vehicles, but also just destroy the world if they want to, I suppose.
Yeah, so like the bottom of the ocean floor is lined with a special thing with if ignited properly or whatever, activates methane hydrate, which
Sure.
creates bubbles, and the bubbles make a ship lose buoyancy. And I think they were trying to do that on ships that are carrying like nukes to that, to some kind of degree. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like by stuff of that nature. I don't know if I got that 100% accurate or within the right line, but yeah, there's a thing called Salacia, I think, that activates it. And that's kind of what I've gathered from my playthrough.
That's yeah. That's about what I got too. Um, in terms of the players' engagement with it, you play as Nina. You see a cut, or no, you engage the fighting tournament is your tutorial for combat, right? Or is that a cutscene?
It's a
No, your
cutscene.
tutorial's on the ship deck. Yeah. Um, but yeah, you are, as far as you know, like your main first task is to make your way across the ship, find the heads or sort of like some of the like, the senior executives of this criminal organization to take them out. Um, and the game kind of plays out very much like Resident Evil in that sense, where it's like, okay, you're in this section, you've got to go to this section. Oh, you need the key to get to that. So you got to backtrack to this spot to get the key. Okay, you got the key. Oh, you found this item on the way. That's cool. You also use that item somewhere else? Oh, right, I was over there. So it's a little bit of that like back and forth and all the while in terms of combat, like Nina has a health bar, but Nina also has a secondary bar that's like always building this meter as you're fighting people. Um, when you fill that meter, you get to trigger, what do they call it?
Focus mode.
Focus. Yeah, I was gonna call it the X-ray because it's, if you've played a Mortal Kombat game in the last 15 years, it's X-ray mode. Um, but you basically like zoom into your enemy's skeleton, and then you've got a reticle that you move around. Um, you pick where you want to hit them, like a focused attack, and then you execute that attack. As you level up, which of course there's experience points in the game, as Nina levels up, she'll get a longer health bar and she'll get a longer focus bar. That focus bar, every like
So
additional chunk, yeah,
yeah.
adds another number of focus attacks you can do in that focus mode. Um, what else am I forgetting about that? That's the core. Like you're upgrading Nina as a character. You're upgrading your moves. You can get different moves. You can get her signature moves as well from the
You
game.
can play Tekken if you want to.
Yeah. Albeit a little. You don't need to. You can just.
No, you don't. You really don't. I did start learning some of them though, because
The
I
combos.
found some of them were hitting high, which you need to do for a certain boss enemy towards the end of the game,
Mm-hmm.
which was nice. I'm not gonna take full credit for that. I saw that in FAQ, but
Mm-hmm.
I did start to learn some of that. Start exploring it. So yeah, so you are moving around left stick. You are at any time like going right, right, then left, and Nina's kicking right, right, then left. And then there are different combos based off modifiers on your shoulder buttons. So L1 just kind of like puts, it's called like combat mode, but I think it's literally just used as a modifier for what, like if you hit like right stick right and then right stick right with L1, like with L1 held, it's another way of mapping something else to that right stick going right, and they will build the L1 into combos or at the start of combos or anything like that. L2 is critical strikes. So you're talking about focus mode, and focus mode will put you into the X-ray thing. You can also eat meter in a fighting game and use special attacks with the critical strike modifier. And again, all built into some of the different combos and whatnot. And you can see the combo chart is not as probably as pretty as a move list you would see in a fighting game in the pause menu or main menu, wherever you're looking at it. Um, but like you can see it. And there's other stuff you can level with Nina and the experience points you're getting. You can level up like item proficiency. I know we haven't talked necessarily about items yet, but like you can make your melee attack, weapons last longer. So yeah, so you're not only leveling, but you're also getting these experience points. And you can grind out experience points like like any other RPG. I don't think you really need to per se. I wouldn't say like I wouldn't run from every fight. You probably can to some extent, but it's worth it to fight your way through stuff. And yeah, you level up those skills or just buy the combos or whatever. And then they get implemented into Nina's just regular repertoire as you're playing. I guess I mentioned L1 and melee weapons. So there are melee weapons and there are guns in this game.
Yes.
So on the D-pad, if you hit left or right, you will see there is like Nina kick mode, or you can equip a melee weapon, and then when you're in the melee weapons, you can go up or down to toggle between X amount you have. You can carry, I think, one or two to start, but luckily there are item holsters around that you can collect
Of course
through
there
your
are.
backtracking. That will allow you to
Through
hold.
backtracking or like some are in those lockers we talked about. There's stuff
Yeah.
like that. Like you're always kind of upgrading your capacity.
So, you can hold more melee weapons, and then, like, you can keep them, like, ready to go in the bottom left-hand corner, but when you hit L1 is when you when you hold L1 is when you pull out the melee weapon. So you can kind of combo and attack with and without the weapons when you see fit. And then same thing with the actual gun weapons in this game. You can hold L1, flick the right stick, and Nina will shoot or do whatever the weapon is in that direction. And yeah, you can flick right then left, and she will shoot right then left. And then as you're shooting, you can let go L1, and you will start kicking or comboing or doing whatever you are doing. It's all pretty flawless and receptive to your inputs. I never really had a false or bad input.
No, I think the only time that things felt weird is like if you're trying to do crowd control and you're frantic, but it's still responding to what you're doing. Gunplay, I think, is the weak part of the game for me. Like,
Yeah, there's just not a lot going. I don't think there's
yeah,
really an
yeah,
auto aim to help you out either. I think it's just like OG Resident Evil. Not to keep comparing it to Resident Evil, but like there's
but yeah,
no
it's very
auto
much.
aim. You're just kind of blindly shooting in some of these directions, hoping you hit the thing in front of you. Because this game does use fixed camera angles. It's more
It,
like, well, it's more like Code Veronica, where Code Veronica like has the dynamic cameras because it makes use
yeah.
of the 3D environments. You have that here. However, that is where the fighting can go awry. Because if
Hmm.
you have Nina coming at you and you're hitting down, like right stick, you are kicking
Yeah.
down. But then
The
as your
camera.
momentum brings you towards the camera and and like it changes and it completely 180s and now you're behind Nina, she will then just start kicking the other way. They do it the correct way with movement, where like again, Resident Evil fixed cameras. If you are moving from camera angle to camera angle, if you hold the same direction and never let go of it, your character will keep going in the same direction. It's when you reset the center is when the game reorients the movement around where you were going. It does not do that in your kicking momentum, or is
Mm-mm.
doing that in a way because you keep recentering for the combos or whatever. It doesn't know how to handle camera. So if you get stuck in crowd control, especially crowd control, between two to even sometimes three separate camera angles, you are just kind of like
It's a mess.
fucked. I hope you got to
Yeah.
kind of get like out of it in a weird way. And that's like the one time where the combat system that you have kind of falls apart. Is I wouldn't say it's rare. It doesn't happen often though.
No, because otherwise it does feel pretty good. That's the thing about this game that I found so intriguing is like there's a lot of systems and there's a lot of stuff that's packed into this one game to me, and I think I put this in my review in some extent, but like this feels like all of the ideas that never fit in Tekken, they figured out a way to put in something. And I think it works well in most cases, but the camera definitely falls short at times. You do have the option of holding R2, which sort of depending on where you are, if the camera is not depending on where you are in a stage, like the layout of where you're physically standing, you can kind of get the camera behind you to lock behind you
Mm-hmm.
by holding R2. But there is a point where you'll kind of like run into one of those aforementioned locked areas and like you're still kind of moving in the direction you thought you were, but it's just a weird, I don't know. They tried to do something with the camera system and it doesn't always work. At the same time, where like I think what makes this game feel so fluid is having played Resident Evil games, those old ones where it feels pretty locked and you're in the tank controls, you have the fixed camera angles. I think the difference here is that like Nina can turn on a dime. So like your course correction for having the camera angle change it is quick to react at least like and it feels fluid in that sense but yeah it's a little messy but not you know not the worst.
No, no, I no. So yeah, well, kind of going back to what I was saying about the guns though, like you just kind of fire blind at times, and then when the
Yeah.
camera angle is changing on you, just sometimes you're just firing just the wrong direction
Yeah, and like
at the
if you're
wrong moment.
kicking in the wrong direction, whatever, you kicked in the wrong direction. But bullets are finite, and
Yeah,
when you run out of bullets on a weapon, you lose that weapon. So you also,
very Breath of the Wild.
yes, very much so. The thing that Breath of the Wild did a little bit differently was save points and checkpoints, uh, and load times, which brings me to my three first complaints of the game.
I think we have equal ones. I was able to avoid one though.
I, what's fun is I'm going to read you something from the early parts of my notes.
Okay.
Save points are excellently handled.
Uh-oh.
Isn't that fun? Then, wait, checkpoints suck. Reloading from save feels bad, specifically because there's a try again option. The try again when you die makes it seem like, okay, this thing I was just doing, I must now try again. Wrong. Try again loads your last save. There's no checkpoint. It's just wherever you saved last.
And it's
Um,
not like that all. And I think I just said this a couple weeks ago. Oh, it's for No More Heroes. It was like the GTA 3 mission structure, right? It was like, okay, if we
yeah,
would have just committed to it, it'd been fine. But there are side missions that are there. Why can't everyone be there? This game does
yeah.
the same exact thing. Like I died one time in Stingray mode. I'm sure we'll talk about
Mm-mm.
that. And I did not save. And I was like, oh no, how far back? And I hit try again. It was right at the Stingray thing. Like it was me starting the Stingray thing again.
Oh,
So I was like, well,
it,
there are
it could
checkpoints.
do it.
So
Yeah.
why aren't we doing this at boss fights?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so I think it's that. Like I can live like old school Final Fantasy 7, like I'm, like
Sure.
sure, like just but it was the fact that I found that out that really frustrated me with the save point stuff because it could do it.
No, yeah, they could do it, and the try again piece really,
Yeah,
that
just
was
say
like,
continue from save point. Like
yep.
just it's fine. We're all used to it.
And again, reading the manual probably would have said like make sure that you save often because game over will mean that. But a game over can happen because you aren't paying attention to the laser thing and you just stepped like a tiny little bit into one of the lasers and then
Um
you gotta reset.
or you turn the flick thing sensitivity on high because of a certain boss fight you were struggling with and you never turned it
Um,
down and you just accidentally flip all the time and you flipped into lasers.
a good time. Now,
So
in that case, did you have to redo the boss fight because you hadn't saved since before it?
um I mean
Because I've had that several times throughout the game.
yeah, I there were times where I forgot to save. I I made my own save points. I'll say that.
Sure.
Being able to do that at times was very nice. I try not in games like this. I try not to abuse it too much. It's more so like I try to cut out the tedious parts, which
Yeah.
the tedious parts are what drive you insane when you save like this. So,
Yeah.
and again, I didn't try to do it too often, but I did
Well,
do
the
it
other
there.
side of it though is the load times.
That
Because it's
doesn't
one thing to go
help.
through this, but like having to re-endure the load times is tough when you're reloading, an older save. But generally, load times in this game are constant. Um,
Yeah.
it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's again, it doesn't cover itself all right. Like Resident Evil has the infamous door cinematic, right? Like
Right.
that's constant. That's loading,
Yeah.
but
But it looks cool. It's
right,
artistic.
it's
It's
not just
whatever.
now loading in
It's
the
not
corner.
now loading in the bottom corner for minutes sometimes.
Yeah, it's very Batman Forever in how it handled loading.
Yeah, very much. Um, yeah, not great. Like this is our attention spans are shorter now for sure, but I feel like I'd be reaching for a cell phone in 2005. Did we reach for cell phones in 2005? We weren't. Nah. You might look at it to be like, did I get a text message?
I might have a cell phone. I don't remember. I don't think I have a smart. No, I don't have a smartphone yet.
No, they were barely here, if that at all.
In 2005, I probably had a flip phone with a camera. I think the camera was the big deal.
Oh, you know what I had? I remember now that you mentioned that. I had a slider phone
Mm,
that not only slid but had a camera with a rotating thing. So
that's
you could
sick.
like spin the dial and if you wanted to take a selfie you could, or if you wanted to take a picture of other people you could also do that. But it also slid up and revealed the keys beneath, very much like the PSP Go. Man, cell phones. They were good. They were good one time. you could text a number to get ringtones or wallpapers sent to you.
You can kind of do that now. You might get malware on your device, but
Yeah. Just do that. It's a mess. Uh, what else do we have gameplay wise? Anything else to cover in terms of
um,
like what's the hook? Like we talked about like navigating the boat in like a Resident Evil style. This game's very much inspired by Metal Gear Solid as well, I think.
yeah,
Um,
I think it's themes and story and some of the way it tells the storytelling. Like that one scene during the Lucas info dump.
yes,
Um,
when you're learning the history of the yeah.
and like in the way it cuts in and out of different like it's a cutscene, but it cuts in and out of different like imagery that's reflecting what he's talking about. Very Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Um, and then like you start to hear some of the music. Like I would say it would be in a Metal Gear game, but there are hints of notes where I'm like, oh, we're kind of getting close to something from like two.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, definitely some Metal Gear there. I would say, again, this leans more into brawler than like espionage or anything like that. Although there are some sections where you can sneak up on a guard to prevent a whole flurry of fighting or whatever.
Sure.
But yeah. Anything else you were gonna add to the Metal Gear thing though?
No, that was it. I'm just trying to like set up like how this game flows. I mean, you go through the boat doing the Resident Evil style backtracking, get keys, unlock doors, take out next person on the hit list. Um, and then you eventually go to the prison.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you're doing the same thing essentially.
Yeah.
Just go through, backtrack, and then and you're back on the boat. Um,
Mm-hmm.
albeit a little differently. But yeah, I mean that's the it feels like a Resident Evil game in that sense. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm just making sure I'm not being too reductive of the overall like gameplay and game progression.
We you talked about the sniper mode, which is a very like on rails thing.
Yep.
There's like a cover reload mechanic because there's like a little danger meter. When the danger meter gets filled, you'll get shot and lose some of your health and whatever. And then you have to kind of usually you're covering someone, so you have to be careful if they're getting shot too. So balancing that out. There's also Stingray mode. Stingray
Yes.
mode. You're controlling a little drone. And usually putting it through some events or little holes or something like that to interact or take a picture of something. I think the first notable time you use it is when you need to get a door code and you read a note. It's like, oh, I made the code, your favorite thing on your desk in your bedroom. And
Hmm.
you find a hole to send Stingray through so you can see the numbers on the item at the bottom of this thing on his, table or nightstand or whatever. So you get that. There's another one to use to unlock doors. It only comes in maybe 3 times, I think, in the entire game. But yeah, each time it's something like that. I'm trying to think what else. Uh,
Later on, there's a lovely little callback to Konami's Lifeline. Um, I think it's Lucas. You're leading when you have to look at
oh
the
Jesus, yeah, the worst part of this game.
really you didn't feel like at home with Lifeline telling
No,
him
I
which
mean it was
direction
I
to
could
go.
it worked reliably, but where the hell Lucas was took fucking forever to figure out, and he was dead by the time he figured it out.
But that was again another like clever idea of like a different way to do a gameplay system.
If that area had like 2 more cameras that were operational, it wouldn't have been that
Yes,
bad. But you can get Lucas lost in camera
very
coverage,
quickly.
like yeah, and it becomes a mess. I cheated on a lot of them because I was kind of just over playing this game to an extent. But the honeycomb puzzles are pretty fun. I think that's a nice little touch.
Yeah, they were fun, but I agree. Like I got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm gonna look up the answer.
Um, yeah, then I mean, the boss fights, I would say, pretty straightforward for a brawler. I
Yeah, but
was,
a lot of them were just like, I was gonna say bullet sponge. That's not the right thing, but they're just like you just
yeah.
do chip damage. Like it just takes so long to clear some of them out.
It's just wild that like the first one was probably the most unique one outside the Lana boss fights. Because the first
What was the
one
first one?
is the guy with the guns. I don't remember his name. It's not Enrique. It's the guy you fight in like the octagon on the bow of the
Oh, when you
boat.
kick him into the spikes,
Yeah.
he's the guy. I don't know why, but he reminded me of Bobby Briggs from Twin Peaks. He doesn't look anything like him. Maybe I looked up to see if the voice actor was the same. No idea, but all my Bobby Briggs fans out there,
Bryce Adams is your
Bryce
Bobby
Adams.
Briggs.
Yeah.
I didn't hate the Lana Lee boss fights. They got annoying, but I like the idea of them. With the zombies coming out of the ground, the flashbacks.
Yeah,
They mixed up the boss fight in a way
very
that
much
needed it.
so. And it did a thing to like introduce a new gameplay system, new gameplay idea. Like I really like this game for the variety of game. Like that to me felt like the gameplay was a little bit different, but it felt like, I mean, probably just because of the snow and the zombies, but it felt like being back in D2. Like I'm just getting all these
Yeah.
like little
Yeah.
touches of games we've played before and stuff like that. I like it for that. But you mentioned you were getting tired of playing this. What got you there?
A walkthrough.
I mean, sorry, what made you grow tired of playing it?
Oh, it's the like as we talk about often when like a game knows when to get out and kind of just like end it. It
Mm,
it did it. I think I was on board through the prison. It was going back to the boat, and the boat was a real slog. The like if the first time, I don't think it's that bad because you're exploring everything new. There is
yeah.
one new section, but the enemy types at that point are very annoying to deal with. And two, there is still a lot of backtracking on the parts of the ship you've been in before.
Yeah.
Um, and then there are, I can't say they're repeat boss fights because they are a little bit more than just a new coat, like a new skin almost. But there are 3 repeat boss battles with slightly different mechanics on that boat that the first fight wasn't that fun. And then you have to do it 3 more times. Wasn't the greatest. So it was like that last third just felt like the slog that it was. Um, and yeah, at that point I was just using a walkthrough just to say
Yeah.
like I finished the game.
Well,
Here,
because the other thing you have is like the map in the game. Like you're really relying on that if you're not looking at a guide to get through this, but the map's not great. We've been really spoiled by even like Metroid Prime, I don't think has a great 3D map, but it's one that at least makes sense to a degree. Like it's navigable. But like, yeah, this one compared to Resident Evil, which I know we're that's tired at this point, but when Resident Evil is your inspiration. Now, granted, I don't really remember now. How good was the map in Code Veronica? It was
that was
better
fine.
than this, right?
It was fine. It had the flat thing though, like what this does, but except like the the difference in the floors, it's only like 5 floors max in a building. I feel like in a Resident Evil
Mm-hmm.
game, the ship by the time you were done, I think there were 5 sub rooms and then
Yeah,
4 like above
main.
like yeah. So it was like 9 things you had to scroll through potentially.
And it's
And
not snappy.
no, it's that Anthem map where it
Yes, yes.
yeah, where it's just delayed enough where I hated opening it.
What a good game. Anthem.
Um, no, but the fucked up part of this all, like when I was in it, like playing, like I like fighting, I kind of loved this game. Like I think
Yeah.
things some things work really well for it. I love this combat system. I wish it's one we would see more of.
Dude, had there been another game that did a dual stick combat like this?
Yes, Jet
Brawling?
Li's Rise to Honor.
Right. Okay.
I have since looked up some more.
What do you got?
I might keep them in my pocket.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, this is. I mean, so I played. I did not beat Rise to Honor. It was like a blockbuster rental, but I played Rise to Honor as a rental, and it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun to play.
I
And
think it works. Like that right stick to aim, like it's very intuitive. It makes a lot of sense.
like
And I think if this game were revisited in a modern capacity, like if this were given the Resident Evil 2 remake treatment, I think it could be really cool.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how to do like the right stick stuff. I think it would be more like I want to see this game in 20. I'm sure this year, like 5 years ago, or maybe even like 8 years ago, with the Arkham combo system.
Sure. Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
think that'd be really strong. One thing I was gonna say, like Nina feels a touch more stiff from what I remember of the Jet Li game, because Jet Li uses like legit martial arts.
Yeah.
So like his like going back and forth is a little bit crazier than Nina's like straight combo kicking. I could be misremembering some of that, but I was floored playing that game growing up.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So yeah, no, that's my second note. My first one was when does the game start? Because that opening cutscene took forever.
Yeah.
The second one, oh my god, it's the Rise of Honor control scheme. Yeah,
I'm curious to see what yeah.
don't get too excited.
But there's been nothing modern, right?
Not that again, I didn't look hard, but I don't think
Yeah.
so.
Everybody ripped off Dark Souls, but nobody wanted to rip off Death by Degrees.
Or I mean, everyone ripped off Arkham too.
Yeah. Yeah, that too, right? Yeah, there's a lot of pull from that, but yeah, this works really well. Um
Um,
I think the characters look good.
yeah, Nina looks real good at times, doesn't she?
Well, yeah, they definitely lean into the
It's
sexualization.
God. Oh, and then the I don't the beat the dead horse with Resident Evil, but they literally did a Code Veronica section of the no metal.
Which part?
In Code Veronica, remember where you had to deposit the weapons and you have to like go around?
Oh, that yeah, yeah.
But they did it
Again, I
here.
feel
But instead of just like, oh, you're just running around as Claire with no weapons, oh, you're running around as Nina with no clothes.
with no clothes. Yeah, exactly. How much of that was a Code Veronica callback or a Naked Snake kind of thing?
I don't know. I don't
Either
know.
way,
I don't
what are we
know.
doing?
Yeah,
What are we doing?
it was bad. And then like, of course, the wardrobe gets torn in the best places it probably could get torn. Yeah, that was a
Let me
little.
see something. I believe this might be the same year. Okay, this is a year after. We're in the era of the guy game. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
we're
shit. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I know we're. Yeah. I know where we're at, but still, it sucks because
Yeah.
when she put on this purple suit, attire change 3, I think, or 2.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the second one. Like before, it got all ripped up. Like it was fine. He had a bit curvy or whatever, but it was not the cocktail dress or like bathing suit you were running around in at some point. So yeah, that's the only bad part. But I think visually, yeah, character models look good. I think boat looks fine. Boat looks like a boat. Prison looks like a prison.
Yeah.
Not the most colorful game, but it gets by.
Sound wise, the only note I have is the bass line for the one song that you hear a lot of.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Like I
but
said,
and good, good.
I was gonna say like some of this music very like a couple notes away from being right in line with the Metal Gear game. I forget what the boss music is now, but I really liked Lana Lee's boss music.
Yeah, there were a lot of good themes.
Um, so yeah, no, there was some good stuff to be had. I think your sound effects were standard fare.
Yeah,
Uh,
voice acting was done well.
yeah,
I do think the other part, just to go back to visuals for a second, is like they shift to enough different types of gameplay that the camera isn't always the best, but they do account for changing some of the like gameplay styles well enough. But maybe that's like as we kind of slide into home here. That's kind of like where I'm at with this. Like nothing in this is exceptional, but nothing in this is clearly bad. You know what I mean? Like,
I I originally I don't think I ended up writing it in the review, but I did at one point have it. Oh, I think I took it out because it was like it was discussing like I literally said my score within the review, which I didn't want to do. But like I think this is my favorite ever video game. That is a 6 out of 10.
I agree.
I just think
I'd
it
have to
does
look
so
at
many
what else I gave a
things.
six.
I think it does so many things unique. I think this is a fun game from moment to moment. It's just you get stuck in the backtracking and it never really shies away from leaning into the backtracking stuff.
Yeah.
Um, and like even doing the walkthrough, it felt like a slog, knowing like from where to go A to B. Imagine not knowing because there are times where I didn't know where I had to go, like just like on page, like what is my objective. I sometimes I just it wasn't clear what I was doing. So I would have had to like walk around to figure out what the hell was happening. Um, so yeah, no, that and again, I was able to get away with some game save stating as well, so I didn't have to deal with the
That
save.
goes a long way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hope this game gets revisited for a modern audience.
I don't think it will, but
Tekken's huge, man.
I know Tekken's huge, but I don't think people like this game.
But I think what you just said, right? Like it's your favorite 6 out of 10. It could be it. It has potential.
I know what you're saying. It's just looking at the modern state of where we're at. I don't want to get our hopes too high.
No, yeah. I mean, you have to put money into sure things, and this is not a sure thing by any means. One sure thing is that this is the 196th video game that we're adding to the list. A list that you can find at thefreecheese.com/the list. Or if you're watching the video version of the podcast, you can just keep watching because Matt's got it up on screen. What is your ranking? Where did you land?
Despite what it says, my favorite game, that's a 6 out of 10. I have this as new 116.
Are you joking? 2 times in one season.
Right above Mach and X and
Right
below
above Mach and X, right below WWE
SmackDown,
SmackDown versus Raw 2007.
otherwise known as SVR.
Yes. That's funny. Really funny. Yeah, for the listeners out there, we usually just we present the numbers we each landed on, and then we kind of talk back and forth like, oh, maybe you're right, maybe I need to come down, maybe I need to go up a little bit. Yeah, okay. Very rare, very rare.
There's been a few times where we'll be like within 3 or something like
Sure.
that, but yeah, no. What was the other one we were spot on with? Was it a bottom dweller?
No, it was something else like right in this.
For the record, I do think we both equally agree that Superman was 193 or wherever
Yeah,
second
yeah, yeah.
second from last. But I can't remember the
Hmm.
other one. I know we've done it though.
Hmm.
Yeah. Funny how that works.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I was off number wise. It's 117 technically now with the
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
but
That's why I say it
that is
between
the
the
spot
games. Yeah.
between Mach and X and WWE SmackDown versus Raw. There you have it. Um, Next week we're hitting the courts. Mario Tennis joins the list. The original Mario Tennis. Wait, is it? Yeah,
I
Mario Golf started on Game Boy, I
yeah
think.
yeah yeah. Yeah. I, I think Mario Tennis on 64 was first, and then that Game Boy Color game came like immediately after it, and you could import your created character from Tennis on Game Boy.
Yeah, that sounds right. Did they? Oh, they did have. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, video
Wow.
games. Yeah. This is the debut of Waluigi.
Yeah, I think while yeah, like yeah, while yes, Wario is already a known quantity. Yeah, Waluigi. This is his debut.
Nice, nice, nice. So yeah, come back, hang out with us for that next week. And then the week after that, we got Blue Stinger for the Sega Dreamcast.
Speaking of Resident Evil,
We could have spun it around, but yeah, Death by Degrees. I mean, I think you can find it for relatively inexpensive prices at Retro Shop or on eBay.com. Um, it's an intriguing PS2 game, you know?
yeah,
I think it's neat.
like I you know, I would say there's at least a few hours of entertainment here. Like even if you just kind of like put it down after the first part with the boat, I think you got your fill of the
Yeah,
game.
I definitely, yes, agree with that.
I mean, if you find interest in the story, that's what keeps you going. Me personally, I did not get that,
Mm-mm.
but yeah, playing the game. I was honestly I was doing fine until like 2/3 to that prison piece, and then I really kind of soured a little bit on the return to the boat. But
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's an interest just for the control scheme, the fighting system, and the systems at hand. Really, with everything, with the combat modes and the weapons and focus mode. It's like
yeah, I think it
the
works.
X-ray mode is cool. I don't think we talked about that enough. But we're like, if you kill an enemy while in it, like their ribs break and their heart is like stops beating. It's
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
yeah, they did some cool stuff with that. I, Pretty cool stuff. I wonder how much of that did actually influence the X-ray mode in Mortal Kombat because it's very close. Um, but yeah, Death by Degrees. Sorry, Tekken's Nina Williams in Death by Degrees. Project Nina. There it is. Well, yeah, come back and play Mario Tennis with us next week. Blue Stinger in a couple weeks. And we're right on the way to the end of Q3 here as we approach September and start getting into these spooky video games I hear so much about. Until next time, thank you all for hanging out with us. Thank you, Matt. We'll see you next week. Bye.